So could Alvin Bragg be the next liberal DA to fall? In 2024 alone, 3 progressive DAs in traditional liberal-leaning cities, Portland, LA, and Oakland, were either voted out or recalled. Could he be next? Joining me now is my old friend Marcia Clark. She was the lead prosecutor in the O.J. Simpson murder case. She's also the New York Times best-selling author of the new book, Trial by Ambush, which we're going to talk about in a moment. Marcia Clark, it is great to see you again. It has been a long time. Let me ask you about the Alvin Bragg situation. Do you think, knowing what, for example, happened in L.A. With George Gascon, a liberal DA voted out by liberal Angelenos, you think something similar could happen in New York?
Yeah, I do. I think it probably will. I think that Alvin Bragg has been in some hot water of his own, independently of the whatever people may perceive as his liberal bias. But I think there is something in the air. People are pretty tired of people getting away with stuff, particularly when it comes to property crimes. I know here in California, we've had a lot of problems with shoplifting and people complaining. I think on the East Coast as well about you go into the CVS or whatever, a Walmart, everything's locked up. You can't buy deodorant without calling a store manager. Everybody's tired of it, and it really is enough already. So I think that all of the DAs that seem to be associated with that attitude of we're not going to prosecute that little stuff are probably going to be gone very soon.
Let me ask you about the Menendez brothers. The second trial overlapped with the O.J. Simpson case. There's now a big debate going on about whether they should be released based on new evidence that's come forward about abuse that they may have endured. What's your take? Do you think that they ought to be released at this point?
Yeah. I have gone back and forth on this like one of those Super Balls. Bing, 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 bing. Our attitude about child abuse and abuse by a parent has really gone through a lot of changes since their first trial. But even in that first trial, when the defense was allowed to put in a great deal of that evidence of abuse, the jury hung as to both brothers. And you have to remember that the issue was not just, oh, daddy molested me, therefore I get to kill him. The defense was that they were in fear for their lives, that they were in fear that there was an imminent danger of death or great bodily injury posed by the father. And then people say, well, why not? Then why do you shoot the mother and why do you reload to make sure she's dead? Well, good question. I mean, I'm not saying it was a perfect defense, but it did convince about half the jurors in the first trial. In the second trial, when it was kept out, whole different story. But then again, the winds shifted, Dan. The people were pretty upset that these two brothers who shotgunned their parents to death, it was horrific what happened in that house, actually almost got off. And so there was that as well. It wasn't just the change in evidence. People were unhappy with that verdict. Now we've shifted back again, and we feel, I think that there's an understanding that children do get abused. Children are threatened. Children can be in imminent danger from their parents. This happens. We know that. Does that mean, though, that they are entitled to get out? You'd have to know the evidence a lot better than I do because I did not follow this case. I had a case of my own to worry about, several of them. But the new DA is certainly not going to be pressuring the judge to go along with the release as Gascon was. Gascon wrote that letter, I think you probably covered it, saying, I believe that he should be released and they should be released immediately. Well, that's not happening anymore. How much that affects the judge? Anybody's guess.
So you're not
the judge will certainly look at everything and make a decision.
You don't have a take specifically on what the court should do? I
mean, oh, you're pushing so hard.
I am trying. Yeah.
You are. I don't blame you. By the way, it's why I really like talking to you. You're one of the few reporters I like talking to during the Simpson trial. Well, because you knew what you were doing. It was a pleasure. Yeah.
Thank you.
My pleasure. But here's my feeling about it. I'm now a defense attorney. I have clients who are serving life without the possibility of parole, who never shot anyone, did not mastermind a killing, did not kill, did not pick up a gun. And they're serving life without the possibility of parole. The fact that these young men, they're not young anymore, the fact that the Menendez brothers are now up for release, it doesn't feel great to me because it feels like a celebrity release. It feels like a free ticket, a free ride because they got famous and they're being championed by famous people. And I'm not down with that.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact fact-driven, unbiased coverage.